So, a few days ago, I made a video about my experience with the first few hours of Silent Hill F. In that video, I generally praised the game, saying how much I love looking at foggy trees and kicking enemy ass with a strangely overcooked and out-of-place combat moveset. Actually, that was my biggest takeaway while playing. I thought the game was great, but it was doing things that didn't feel especially Silent Hill to me. It was a change of pace that I wasn't expecting to be as jarring as it was. I have since finished Silent Hill F, and what I once thought was an interesting new direction to take the franchise, I now consider to be one of the weirdest fucking things I have ever seen in my entire life. Right here at the top of the video, I think I need to be clear and say I still like Silent Hill F a lot. This is not going to be a video where I angrily trash a game for being too different from what I wanted. But the things that happen in Silent Hill F hit me like a goddamn wrecking ball, and I simply had to make this video talking about my thoughts after a full playthrough was under my belt. And arguably, I shouldn't even be making this video until after I've completed all 3 playthroughs, or whatever it takes to get the full story. But I'm a slow gamer and an impatient person, so I'm doing it now. And it should go without saying, but I will be spoiling the hell out of this game in this video. So if you don't want to be spoiled, just watch my video on the first few hours to hear my thoughts. And of course, you should like and subscribe to my channel. Spoiler warning given, let's talk about Silent Hill F. I think it's fair to say that in a lot of games, there comes a point where the devs have played out all their cards and are just hoping you won't notice there isn't really anything new to look forward to. But if you're able to pay more attention to the world around you than a baby with TikTok, you'll probably pick up on the lack of new surprises, repeated content, or bloated padding. I hit this point around halfway through Silent Hill F. Realizing this game was just going to be reusing the same streets of Ebisugawaka I've already seen a handful of times, and filling them with enemies I've already slain hundreds of times, was certainly disappointing, but that on its own didn't ruin anything for me. Unfortunately, this point of realization happened to coincide with one of the weirdest fucking things I've ever seen in Silent Hill. Something that almost gave me an aneurysm for how out of pocket it was. I am, of course, talking about that time Hinako gets a magical mystic fox arm, complete with supernatural furry powers. To be fair to Silent Hill F, as time has passed, this moment has ended up sitting a lot better with me. But when I first saw this, I was fucking flabbergasted. It's not even just the visuals of Hinako with a grafted-on animal arm. It's the fact that this DIY fursuit brings additional mechanics into an already overcooked combat system that really got my goose. In addition to the previous offensive and defensive combat options, you now have to worry about preventing enemies from respawning as a new mechanic. You can do that by sucking them off after they've fallen and can't get up, or by using your focus attacks to deal the finishing blow. In addition to that, Hinako literally gains the ability to activate Devil Trigger from Devil May Cry, during which time she's invulnerable and can effortlessly dispatch enemies as if she were one of Dante's precious gal pals. And yeah, mastering a complicated combat system with lots of parts to juggle is a lot of fun. But in a series that's famous for having dweeby dads clumsily swinging wooden sticks as their main method of defense, this whole situation just feels a little bit out of left field. At this point, I think it would be very easy to write this off entirely as being a poorly thought out decision that should have never made it past the prototype phase. But I am an enlightened gamer with many good opinions. In fact, many people are saying that my opinions are really good. And in my opinion, this whole Fox fiasco isn't really that bad. It's just fucking weird. And for me at least, it's weird in a good way. The addition of the magical fox powers and extra furry body modification was the kind of bizarre choice I'd expect to see from a low to mid-budget PS2 game. A game that's allowed to be just a little out there, or even a lot out there, because the studio didn't put an arm and a leg into making it, and so they aren't worried about making a massive return. Nowadays, games are so expensive, so massive, and take so long to make that studios aren't willing to take chances. They have a formula for turning stupid high budgets into even stupider high returns. And there is no room for experimentation anymore. I think maybe I'm being too sentimental, but this goddamn magical girl fox transformation Hinako goes through just reminded me of that experimental era of gaming. And it made me happy to feel like that kind of game design was still alive somehow. It's weird, it's kinda bad, but it certainly is not generic or boring. And for that, I kinda like it. And to give even more praise to this moment, the actual cutscene where Hinako's arm is replaced was one of the most effective bits of horror I have ever seen. It is an entirely wordless scene. Everything is done strictly through the physicality of the actors. This dialogueless approach does two things. Number one, it forces you to really pay attention and listen to the skin-crawlingly uncomfortable soundtrack accompanying this scene. If the feeling of uncanniness could be put into music, it would be this track. And the second thing having no dialogue does is that it makes you learn, in real time, at the same moment as Hinako, exactly what is going to be happening here. The building mystery and growing dread as the scene continues is just phenomenal. It starts out with shrine maidens bringing and presenting these ritual items, leaving it up to our imagination what their purpose is. But the more time that passes, and the more we see those items being used, the more we begin to realize where this scene is going. In a single word, I think this entire cutscene is harrowing. My eyes were the size of dinner plates while watching this, and my heart was beating out of my chest like I'd just received a text message from my boss on a Saturday. 10 out of 10. No notes. I love this scene. So that was the main thing I wanted to talk about with this video. All of this Fox stuff. But since I've now finished the game, I think some additional rapid-fire criticisms not present in my first video are warranted. To start off, for me, the single biggest mark against this game is the lack of dungeons. There are only 2. Both are phenomenal, but Silent Hill as a series is well known for its labyrinthian, puzzle-filled dungeons spread all throughout the game. I mean, they're always the best parts of their respective titles. So only having 2 in Silent Hill F is a real shame for me. I already said how the second half of the game begins to fall apart a little, but it takes a real nosedive in the final few sections. The end of the game is composed of a handful of long combat gauntlets that really overstay their welcome. I didn't mind them too much as someone who likes the combat, but if you hate the combat, you're going to be driven to the edge of insanity trying to get through this game's final couple of hours. A big reason for its tediousness is because the game has a lot of forced fights. Specifically, every time a pregnant-type enemy shows up, the path forward becomes blocked until you kill it. You can run past everything else you want to, so why the hell are these things so special? And if we have to kill them, why are they so unbelievably tanky? On the subject of annoying enemies, the crying dolls are very poorly utilized. By themselves, these enemies are essentially harmless. They're designed to be a disabler type enemy, something to cause trouble while you fight other monsters. But they are rarely paired with other monsters to take advantage of their strengths. 99% of the time, they might as well not even be there. Killing them is just a waste of your durability. Speaking of which, it seems like a lot of people are really averse to the durability aspect of this game. Not necessarily the existence of durability, but the fact that if all of your weapons break, you can end up soft-locking yourself. Now, this has never happened to me. In fact, I usually had an overabundance of weapons, but the fact that it can happen is a bit of a problem. You can say that if this ever happens to someone, it's just a skill issue, and maybe it is, but a game being able to account for rare edge cases and still function is never a bad thing, and I wish it was present here in some way. Apart from that, all of my praises from the first video still stand. I like this game a lot. I probably like it about as much as the original trilogy, though my reasons for liking it are very different for this game than they are for those ones. Actually, I'd like to hear your thoughts and rankings of the series in the comments. Am I fucking crazy for liking F as much as I do? Or should I like it even more as an incredibly interesting new direction? Let me know. And while you're down there, if you could remember to like and subscribe, that would mean so much to me. Or even better, you should watch another one of my videos. In any case, thank you so much for watching to the end of this one. Please remember to stay positive and have a wonderful day, everyone.